Hey friends, welcome to another edition of Timmy Talks. It wouldn't be Christmas without making some Italian Christmas cookies. Come along, this'll be fun. Okay, this is my Italian Pizzelle maker by the Palmer Manufacturing Company. And here is the Pizzelle machine. And you see that little center right there on the right? You can actually have that customized. And mine says Italia. This was a machine given to me by my beautiful mother. Thank you, Mother. I so love it. And this is going to be making the pizzelles. And as you can see, it says Italia there. It'll be stamped. And yeah, this is what I'll be using today. Okay, so for the ingredients today, you are going to need 4 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, a cube of butter melted, a teaspoon of vanilla, a teaspoon of anise, a tablespoon of anisette, which is the liqueur, a teaspoon of crushed anise seeds, and baking powder, and 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 2 cups of flour. So I'll be going through the ingredients as we make it, but this is what you will need. Okay, so we'll start out with 4 eggs beaten, and we'll add them to our bowl. Okay, now to this, we'll add 1 cup of sugar, and I'm gonna use my vintage 1940s measuring cups. I just love these. And this one says 1 cup, so we will put 1 cup of sugar in there and add it to the eggs. Okay, and to this, I will add 1 stick of butter melted, and you wanna make sure that the butter has cooled down. Otherwise, it'll make scrambled eggs, and you don't want scrambled eggs. Okay, and to this, we're gonna add our spice mixes. And I have this really beautiful set from Joanna Gaines, Magnolia, if you know that company. And I'm first gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So we'll grab 1 teaspoon, this one. Okay, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and it's okay if you add more. There's no problem with having any additional flavoring here. And next I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of anise extract. And 1 tablespoon is the big one. And now you need to pick a nice anisette, which if you haven't tasted anisette, it's really like licorice flavor. It has its own unique licorice flavor. And I like the Marie Brizard. It's very reasonably priced and it tastes just fantastic. And I think this comes from France. This is a French anisette, but it's very, very good. And I use 1 tablespoon of anisette. And if you're worried about the alcohol in it, it actually gets cooked off. And what's really left is this wonderful, wonderful anise flavor. And since the anisette is open, a little taste for the chef is in order. Woo! That'll put hair on your chest. Wow, it's good though. Okay, and now what I'm gonna add is anise seeds. I'm gonna take 1 teaspoon and crush them in the mortar and pestle. Okay, I don't want to crush these too much because they're very small as it is, but I want to release some of that anise flavor into the cookies. So just grind it up gently. This mortar and pestle is my Italian mortar and pestle, Italian marble. Okay, when you crush it up, 1 teaspoon goes a long way. All right, now what I'm gonna do here is just mix all this up. And I suppose you can use a blender, and many people do, but I'll tell you, I just always think of my ancestors making this, and they didn't have anything that were blenders or mixers or anything like that, and everything was done by hand. So I'm gonna mix this up really well, make sure all that butter is integrated into the mixture. Okay, this is mixed well, and now we're going to add our flour and baking powder. Okay, to this mix we'll add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I would say always make sure that you are using fresh ingredients, fresh baking powder. I know I've got bottles of baking powder throughout the year, and I have found that if you don't use fresh, the cookies just don't come out the same. So make sure that you are using fresh ingredients. All right, 2 teaspoons. Okay, and to this, I'm going to be adding 2 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour. Okay, so in goes 1, and in goes 2. Okay, and now we just mix all this up. It'll take a few minutes, but we're going to mix this up, and I'll come back once it's done. Okay, over the years, I've learned that you need to put a towel down because you're gonna get a lot of drippings and dough and everything on the counter. And it's just better to have it on here, and it can be, thrown into the washing machine. Now you have your Pizzelle machine, and what you really need to do is thoroughly put some spray on it, nonstick spray, to make sure that it's going to not stick. And the first few cookies that we make are going to be thrown away because that's the machine getting even and used to cooking again. So we'll let this heat up and then we'll come back. Okay, the one thing I don't like about this machine is it doesn't tell me if the machine is hot enough. My other Pizzelle maker used to have an indicator that showed when it was done, but I can smell it. It's hot, very hot, and it's ready to start. So we will take about a teaspoon of dough, and we will put it in the center. It'll take a few times for me doing this to estimate how much is needed. It's kind of like you forget about it, but it's like riding a bike. You really don't forget it. So, okay, let's close this up and lock it. And we'll put our 30-second timer on.
30 seconds, counting down.
Okay, I'm gonna check it. Okay, those look pretty good. Okay, and again, these first few I'm just going to throw away because the machine has been sitting since last year. So I'm gonna spray again. And then that looked like about the right amount. So I'm gonna put the exact same thing, and we're gonna begin the real cookie making. And let's set our timer, 30 seconds. And you could make them lighter or darker depending on your taste. I'm just gonna put them on to my holiday tray here and let them cool off. They need to cool off, and I'm just gonna stack them and build them as I go along. And I prefer them a little darker, so yes, you can make them lighter or darker depending on your taste. And you have to make sure that they lay flat, because if you wanted them curled, like if you wanted to make a cone, you could do that during this stage, but I want to have flat cookies, so I'm going to make them flat. Oh my goodness, if you could smell the kitchen, it smells like this wonderful anise smell throughout the entire kitchen. Oh my goodness. So nice. See, the cookie says Italia on one side, and so the other side is this design, and on the other side of this one it says Italia. This isn't a fast process, and you constantly have to clean while you cook it. But you don't want to have too much in there, otherwise it'll flow over. Okay, so remember, every time or every other time you gotta spray so they don't stick. Now, when they used to make these years ago, there was a single press, and they used to put it on an open flame, of a wood-burning oven. So I think my aunt still has the original one from our family, but these are the modern Pizzelle makers. But my family's been making these and eating these for a very, very long time. And like I said, sometimes it's not a problem if you make them darker or lighter. It's just the way they are. It's the surprise you get. My neighbors don't like the taste of anise, so for them, I'm going to be chopping up some almonds and putting almonds in here and using almond extract. So for them, I'll be making almond ones, but you can really make orange, lemon, pistachio would be good. They're very versatile cookies, but anise is the more traditional Italian cookies. I think I'm down to my last cookie. Okay, last cookie of this batch. All right, I'm gonna unplug this for now. And we have to let the cookies cool off for the next phase. Okay, now that these have cooled, it's time to do the second part. And I actually have this really nice flour sifter, but I'm going to use my old trusty, I think this is Tupperware, one that I got many, many years ago for the powdered sugar. This one works really, really well. So what you're going to need is powdered sugar now. Okay, and again, these need to be entirely, thoroughly cool before you do this step. So you take a Pizzelle, you have to get some sort of a shaker, and very lightly, you don't need to like smother these, very lightly, you're going to dust them with powdered sugar, one at a time. And since I'm giving this away, I'm gonna be putting it in on a nice Christmas platter. Hopefully I can fit 3. Let's see if I can fit 3. I should be able to. Okay, we'll overlap them like that. And this continues for all of the cookies. Okay, so my 2 batches, because I made another batch, gave me 3 good plates to give away. So yes, I'm very excited. I hope you enjoyed today's edition of Timmy Talks, where I made Italian pizzelle. Now, do you call them pizzelle or pizzelle? There's a big controversy. Put in the comments below and let me know. Also, do you make different flavors? Do you put different ingredients in yours? I'm really curious to know how you make your pizzelle. Please do comment. I appreciate you watching and also giving me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and do subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Merry Christmas.